Welcome back to the channel everyone, and to today's Clash of Clans video. I wanted to refocus on the Yeti Smash Attack Strategy. This was very popular, very strong before the most recent balance change. So after Town Hall 13, the Yetis, the brand new troop, took over the game. It's definitely a ground-based meta, but how strong is the Yeti Smash after the balance update? Well, I do have some 3-star attacks in war to break down for you, so you know how to use this strategy and showcase that it does still work, and then we will get out into multiplayer to try and replicate this success, show you how I like to use it. This is the composition I like to use, but let's go ahead and dive into those war attacks. Alrighty guys, let's dive straight into this. A brilliant 3-star attack by Azuka of Crunch Time, and whenever you're using the Yeti Smash, you always want to try and start off with a Grand Warden walk. It's just the most efficient way because you can get huge value, create your pathing, and easily pull the Grand Warden walk with the P.E.K.K.A. and the Yeti. So you always want to try and get pathing and value from that. A big advantage is that he can reach greater than the Archer Queen, so in this example he can actually reach the multi-inferno from anywhere on this outside, whereas the Archer Queen obviously wouldn't be able to target that. Now notice that there is an air defense in this area as well, so with the healers we've got to be careful not to put them in that range. You've got two options. You either ensure that the Grand Warden targets the air defense ASAP so you can then put the healers in, or you keep the Grand Warden out of range, or should I say keep the healers out of range, and that is what is chosen in this option. Main reason being, we can then drive up and into the base this way, which is where Azuka wanted to do this attack strategy from. Now with the Yeti and the P.E.K.K.A, you can easily pull that Grand Warden, which is one of the reasons you will do that. So the Grand Warden creates a funnel to 6 o'clock, we also need the funnel to 9 o'clock to then drive everything through the middle and up towards the town hall. By the way, the siege barracks with hog riders will be what's used across this outside of the base, supplemented by the royal champion. Let's go ahead and get into this. We'll continue to pause and delve a little bit deeper as we move through, but if you do want to stay tuned to my daily educational but entertaining Clash of Clans videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So as not to draw the Grand Warden in the wrong direction, a couple of archers are used right out of range of any defences to take out them buildings, and that will essentially concentrate the fire of the Grand Warden up towards the multi. You do not want to waste too much time with this. Maybe around about a minute would be my advice. But the Grand Warden, especially once you've leveled him up to that max level 50 for Town Hall 13, can do incredible damage. Now I have missed over to the left hand side, but the king is used to create the funnel on this side. Whenever you have a defending hero, you always want to consider using the king, because with that ability he can power through that hero, but if you were to use a P.E.K.K.A or anything like that, then it would not take it down as effectively. Plus, you can easily see where the king would go in terms of his funnel based on his mechanics. Pretty straightforward. We've got this area of the base down, we've got this area of the base going down. As soon as that multi goes, that's when the jump comes in to drive everything straight through the middle. Now that's the easiest part of setting up the Yeti Smash. You've got to get the funnel set up. The big thing that I see with this strategy going wrong is if most of your Yeti walk. Now as soon as that multi goes down, the Yeti are deployed alongside the P.E.K.K.A to pull the Grand Warden across so he can be in support mode. Now you always want, if you can, a relatively thin channel for them to go in, so the jump spell only provides access into this little area. It's not like we're accessing a huge part of the base and the Yeti are going to quickly split into different directions. They are literally channeled straight up towards the eagle. After the eagle artillery, that's where it gets interesting, look, because from here they can either drive up to the northwest or they can drive across to the northeast. Which way do they go? This is where your spell deployment will help. So ultimately they might get distracted, but what Azuka does is places a jump spell across to the left hand side in order to encourage the Yeti up this way, and that is where the Royal Champion and the Hog Riders are then used for the right hand side. So although it's not 100% predictable, you might lose some troops here and there. It's all about timing and your spell placement, and you should be thinking about this pathing when you are planning out your attack. You shouldn't just plan to get them into the base and then hope they take out the rest from there. You've got to think about their pathing through the base, and that is where the siege barracks, we can often use that, and I will show you an example of this for the funnel. But essentially it does take out all of the buildings on the outside so that the Hog Riders are then drove up to the defences where they are needed. Hog Riders within that siege barracks is very important because it will delay their deployment, and they can come around the outside of the base alongside the Royal Champion and the ability to try and finish things up. So getting down to the end of it here, it does get a little bit sketchy, but that's where the heal for the Hog Riders comes in. You don't have to use the heal, but do think about where the hogs will go. You should know, are you using the siege barracks very early on in the raid? Or are you using it later on? As in this example, how much coverage will the Hog Riders have? Where exactly will they go? Are they going to be in an area by themselves where the heal will be incredibly valuable? You should be able to hold on to the Queen's ability and the Royal Champion's ability until late on, as you've seen here, and do not forget about some cleanup wizards as well, just to help out, because if you have missed a building or so, you can easily wipe that out, but you should be good in this one. Let's show you another example before I move on to doing an attack myself. Okay, so I did think that this base design would give you a nice bit variety in seeing the Yeti Smash used in a few different ways. Notice how the multi-infernos are right down to the bottom of the base, none of them reachable from the Grand Warden Walk. It's not that it is not appropriate, because the Grand Warden Walk again is used to set up pathing, and you can easily pull that Grand Warden. He can take out buildings inside the base as well. So Kenwith is going to use the Grand Warden Walk to set up the funnel on this side of the base, and then the king to ideally set up the funnel on the left hand side. Now he does have to adjust, the funnel is kind of misplaced on the king's point of view, so a pecker is then used on that side. But notice what's happened here. It allows this area where the Yeti can be drove straight into the middle of the base, and that is where the town hall is. 9 times out of 10 you will want to come into that town hall. If you do not, you want to ensure that you have good pathing to the town hall so you know you're going to get it, especially Clan War Leagues, one attack format. You have to do that. Now for the king, just take a look here. It does walk in the wrong direction, unfortunately. I think the king was meant to be used up to this top side purely because the enemy barbarian king, but I could be wrong. Nonetheless, if that is the case, Kenwith actually does a great job at adjusting here. Now the siege barracks can be used directly behind your P.E.K.K.A. Smash. Main reason for that is you have a free P.E.K.K.A. coming straight into the middle of the base, and it will hollow out this area, taking the town hall before the Hog Riders come out, and they will split to wherever the defences are left. So as long as you can get the town hall and gut that area first, placing the siege barracks down there is perfectly fine. A couple of loons can help to test for black bombs as well, and again a rage spell should be used early on. So notice as the Yeti are just getting into the base, we've got town hall, scatter shot, eagle artillery, lots of major damage. Get a rage in there early on, wipe out that area, and look at the earthquakes coming in. Now the earthquakes can be used to damage buildings, so obviously 4 earthquakes does a tremendous amount of damage, but ultimately the earthquakes here allow pathing to not just 1, but 2, and also the 3rd multi-inferno. All 3 splash damages on the back end, so that is a beautiful earthquake spell. Has greater range than the jump spell. That would not be possible with a jump. So very nice base identification on that one. Once the Yeti are into the base with that jump, the earthquake allows access everywhere else. As they come forward, Grand Warden's ability should be used right as they're taking the most amount of damage. Probably that will be to tank an Eagle artillery fire, but also when they are taking damage from the scatter shot, which is kind of sideswiping them at this moment in time. They do dodge the Town Hall a little bit, but that is where your Archer Queen standing back should be able to help you out. Now in this example, unfortunately, the Hog Riders go to that Town Hall and it means they get obliterated. Obviously, if you can avoid that and the Hogs go elsewhere from that siege barracks, then you're going to be better off. But notice how important the Hogs can be to take out a big portion of the base. A small amount of Hog Riders, or I say small, you can actually get 45 troop capacity within that clan castle now, which is crazy. A lot of Hog Riders, that's quite a large amount. With that heal, it's very helpful. Now this is sometimes what you will see. Your Yeti start to go down, but as long as they have gutted the middle of the base and you've just got these buildings on the back end, look at that Royal Champion's ability go. Pings through the Tesla farm down the bottom area. You've still got healers, we've still got the Queen and a stray P.E.K.K.A moving through the base. This is what you might see, and this is where, like I said in the first attack, a couple of cleanup troops will not go amiss, because you might have a balloon or two which is able to snipe an archer tower. You might have some wizards. Look at how important a couple of wizards could be right now for this area. It is all to do with that Royal Champion's ability, and if you use it on the back end, you might open up a huge section of the base where wizards are useful. What I would say is, again, the most times that I see this fail is if someone does not set up the funnel. So if you need to use them wizards and clean up troops early, make sure to do it to get the funnel set up. Even if you get a higher percentage 2-star, then it's better than missing and getting the 1-star. But if you can, save them for the cleanup. But let's see if I can now showcase this strategy in Legend League. Okay, so the composition that I like to use for the Yeti Smash is this. The Yetis and the P.E.K.K.A work very well together moving through the base, but also the Yeti Mites can move out to the defenses. I like to take 4 Earthquake spells and 1 jump. I use them interchangeably. Sometimes I will use the Earthquake spells in the middle of the base, after the jump, and sometimes I will use them to open up the base, so I have a bigger funnel for the Yeti and P.E.K.K.A to go in. My main factor here is what extra damage I can get. Can I get damage onto other buildings with the Earthquake to move my Yeti through the base? Now I will sometimes use the Stone Slammer to come in on the back end. That can sometimes help with funneling, exactly how you used to with the P.E.K.K.A Smash, but more likely than not, I would be using the Siege Barracks to initially set up the funnel, followed by Hog Riders coming out of it. Now sometimes you can take a heal spell. I'm just going to use the Rage for the multiplayer attacks, but just know that a heal can be useful. Now for this one, we have a pretty obscure base, no obvious area to use a Grand Warden Walk, which is often what you want to use, but I think we should probably come in from the bottom of the base. So I feel the Archer Queen could pick off my Grand Warden relatively easily. Let's do a Grand Warden Walk from over this area, then we will use the King and probably Royal Champion to funnel and the Yeti to come straight through. So let's go with the Royal Champion, the Grand Warden, sorry, probably here. Then let's go with 2 balloons, followed by my healers and the baby dragon to set up that funnel initially. All I want is a couple of extra buildings here from the Grand Warden Walk. Now my balloons have done a pretty good job there. The Grand Warden will move in here, and then let's actually use the Stone Slammer down here to do some damage, open up the wall compartments, and then that will allow my King in. So let's use I've used some wizards there, which I potentially shouldn't have done, but my King will drive into the base, and I can use the Royal Champion down to that area as well. Let's poison that. Okay, my King's going on the outside of the base, which is not ideal. I want my King on the inside of the base to try and take down the remaining troops. I've still got plenty of time here. Royal Champion's ability, because that Royal Champion will go down if the P.E.K.K.A gets major damage, and as long as the King gets a little bit more of a funnel here, then we should be okay. Let's use the jump probably here, followed by the P.E.K.K.A and Yeti. Grand Warden, where are you going? Grand Warden, no! Okay, then let's use the Earthquakes. Rage spell moving into the base here. Grand Warden taking some damage, but I don't really want to use that ability as of yet. We set off the Town Hall. And now let's use the ability. Let's drive them through with another Rage onto that Town Hall. Not looking too bad at this stage. However, I might have pressed that Grand Warden's ability a little bit too early. Maybe not, guys. Maybe not. Where do we use the Rage? I feel the Yeti in the middle could do with being raged, but really, what we need to wait of is the P.E.K.K.A. and the Yeti under Rage under the healers, to use the Rage, and I feel like this top area of the base is where to do that. Now this could be a time fail, guys. Could easily run out of time here. The fact that my queen has stayed alive is very useful. We do lose a Yeti to a spring trap. That's always a difficulty, and this is awesome, guys. The fact that the queen has just stayed alive. The Yeti have done what they need to do in terms of tanking. That is huge in terms of time. With 1 minute left, we should be okay because we have 3 P.E.K.K.A. left in this area. Now that is what is great about this strategy. Is that 4 P.E.K.K.A.? Might even be 4, not 3 guys. So it's pretty good here. I think we're going to get the 3-star. Granted, they have to go back up to that Expo, which is going to take a bit of time. My queen might go down. Oh, 1 shot on the cannon. So we have done okay. Grand Warden should get that either way. I think we're good, guys. Get the Grand Warden creating that funnel. Set the funnel on the other side for your Yeti to move straight through. Wasn't ideal in this one, but got the job done. Showed under Rage how powerful the Yeti are. But if you do want to see more attacks, more breakdowns of this strategy, a little bit more depth, be sure to check out this video. It's all in there, guys. You will enjoy it. But that wraps it up for this one. Until next time, peace out.